Did you know that the F1 Brazilian Grand Prix is not actually named the Brazilian Grand Prix and that its circuit, Interlagos, is not actually named Interlagos? Let me explain. The inaugural Brazilian Formula One race took place in 1972 under the name the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it was run as a non-championship F1 race during the 1972 F1 season. This means that the race did not award championship points and thus did not count toward the 1972 Formula One World Championship. Non-championship races used to be commonplace back when the F1 season was significantly shorter in order to bring more money and exposure to the sport and to give drivers, teams, and fans more racing. There also used to be a rule where a race could not be added to the F1 championship calendar without first being run as a non-championship race, which was the pretense under which the 1972 Brazilian Grand Prix was run. Nowadays, the only requirement for adding a new F1 race to the calendar seems to be that that race take place in the United States. Because the 1972 Brazilian Grand Prix was a smashing success, the Brazilian Grand Prix was added to the Formula One World Championship calendar starting in 1973, where it's remained to this day. Well, sort of. You see, starting in 2021, the name of the Brazilian Grand Prix was officially changed to the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. This is because a new promotional deal for the race was reached that involved the government of Sao Paulo becoming more actively involved in the race's present and future success, and part of that deal involved the city wanting the additional international exposure and notoriety that comes along with having a Formula One race named after you. Sao Paulo, of course, also wanted to flex on their Brazilian rival city Rio de Janeiro, who have been trying to host the Brazilian Grand Prix again ever since 1989, when Rio's Jacarepaguá circuit last hosted it instead of Interlagos. Speaking of Interlagos, just like with the Brazilian Grand Prix, Interlagos is not actually named Interlagos. Interlagos is merely a nickname for the Brazilian Grand Prix circuit, the full name of which is Autódromo José Carlos Pache. The circuit was originally named Interlagos because of its location between two lakes in Sao Paulo, but it was renamed Autódromo José Carlos Pache in 1985 in order to honor José Carlos Pache, the Brazilian racing driver who won the 1975 Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos and then tragically passed away in an airplane crash 2 years later. Interestingly, Pache's remains were relocated to the circuit bearing his name just last year in 2024, making him the only F1 driver to be buried at an F1 circuit. People tend to use the Brazilian Grand Prix, Sao Paulo Grand Prix, and Interlagos, Autódromo José Carlos Pache names interchangeably, so I just wanted to make sure you were not confused going into this race weekend, and also I just thought those name origin stories were super interesting.